welcome to the press conference for Stars at Noon, showing in competition at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival. It's a pleasure to welcome a number of the film's creators, the talent behind the camera and in front of them. I will introduce our guests to you, starting at the far end of the table with the film's producer. His producing credits are longer than most scripts. He brought us in 2003 the film Swimming Pool, in 2009 Enter the Void, among other films. At last year's festival, he brought us Une fille qui va bien. He also produced Claire Denis' previous film, Avec amour et acharnement, Olivier Delbosque. Next to him, the film's eminent subtitler and co-script writer. He also worked on Claire Denis' High Life in 2018, Andrew Litvak. Next to me, a director in her own right who showed Ava at Cannes in 2017. She has co-scripted films such as Les Olympiades, which showed last year, and Roubaix en Lumière in 2019, Léa Missius. Next to Léa is the film's editor. He's worked with a number of France's most interesting directors. He's worked numerous times with Claire Denis, including on Avec amour et acharnement, High Life, Un beau soleil intérieur, 35 Rome, and White Material, Guy Lecorme. The other end of the table, not the end, on the other side of the table, Tinderstick's frontman, the film's composer. This is his fifth collaboration with Claire Denis. They started working together in 1996 with Nénette et Bonny, and in 2001 with Trouble Every Day. This is their fifth collaboration, Stuart Staples.
Maybe more.
I think maybe more.
In the role of Daniel, he was in Cannes last year with The Souvenir Part 2, and Claire first spotted him in his acting debut in Ang Lee's Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, Joe Alwyn. In the role of Trish, she first appeared in Cannes in Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019, and most recently we've seen her in the Netflix miniseries Made, for which she was nominated for a Golden Globe, Margaret Qualley. Her first feature, Chocolat, screened in competition in Cannes. It's been followed by such films as J'ai pas sommeil, Trouble Every Day, Les Salauds, Un beau soleil intérieur. This is her second feature, despite COVID, that's going to be released this year. The director and scriptwriter, Claire Denis. We already have a number of questions, but perhaps I could ask the first one to break the ice. Claire, what attracted you to the novel, and particularly to the political context that the film's set in?
Yeah. Shall I respond in English or in French?
That's up to you, whatever you'd like. I think it would be easier.
Okay, I will do my awkward English then. So, I think, first of all, I wanted to say yesterday I was much too moved when Thierry Frémaux handed me the mic after the screening. And I was like only able to say thank you to the audience and my companion, but I wanted to say my true feeling was in this gorgeous theater to see a film. It was the first time I saw the film on a big screen, finished, because we finished a few days ago. And I realized how important it is not to be alone at home to watch a movie, to be together. It creates some electricity that nowhere else could exist. That's all I wanted to say about yesterday night. And about Dennis Johnson, I try to be short. He was already very famous when I started reading his novels and his poetry. And as I was reading his works, I found in The Stars at Noon something rare, like something addressing to me, like my own fears, my own humiliations, my own hopes, my own despair. And I thought his dialogues was expressing that in such a crude and also delicate way that I felt I was stuck for good. And then as I was shooting High Life in Germany, I had met Dennis before, but as we were shooting, he died brutally. And I thought, maybe although I was afraid, maybe I should try to translate in a film this novel, as I felt so much for it. And I was with Leah first. We went to Nicaragua together, not even writing, and we were scouting Dennis Johnson's trajectory, actually. We went everywhere he was, all the trajectory and the geography of the novel. And then only after that we start writing on the script, and then joined by Andy. Is it enough?
What drew you to the context? What was it about the context that you wanted to film that you found so fascinating?
I think the novel takes place during the civil war in Managua, in Nicaragua, a revolution that the Sandinists win, maybe discreetly to the world, but they do win. And therefore, they were a little bit treated as dangerous by many countries around. And they could only communicate easily with Cuba and Venezuela. But when we were visiting with Leah, Nicaragua, we got the permission to shoot there. We found the location then. But also we realized that the president was slowly deviating from the true trajectory of the revolution, and he wanted to be re-elected against the will of the people there. And little by little we realized we had to change country for security reasons and also sanitary reason when COVID started. And also, as we were changing, choosing Panama, the fact to recreate the Sandinist civil war in Panama seems so ridiculous, you know. So I took the film as a piece of today with the same element. To answer your question, what is in the novel, the importance is the meeting of those two characters. And the civil war is like the background of their meeting, as if they were in an unkind or dangerous world, together fighting an exit, her start and Daniel then, you know, and in fact they fall in love. I think this was the most important, beautiful thing in the book, is the way they fall in love, the way they speak to each other as if they needed that kind of humor to shield their feelings. Is it enough?
Merci, Karen. It's wonderful. Thank you. First question in the center.
Hello.
Claire.
Helen Barlow from the Australian newspaper. I'm based in Paris. Margaret, you're just getting better and better. This is just, if you don't win the silver palm for Best Actress, I don't know who will. Why did you want to work with Claire? And Claire, you shot Margaret so much in close-up. Why did you choose to do that?
Oh gosh, wow, that's so sweet. Thank you. I mean, working with Claire is just like, I felt so lucky to have that opportunity. She's an absolute legend, like the best of the best, and you know, we met a few years before this happened, and the pandemic happened, and all of that, and so I was nervous it wouldn't really actualize itself, and it had so much build up on dreaming of working with her, and even so, it surpassed my expectations because Claire has the ability to kind of like just create this ambiance for you to just so to feel so free and safe because she's looking at you with such love that you kind of feel okay to do anything. And it was an extraordinary opportunity. Yeah, I feel really lucky.
First time I saw Margaret was here in Cannes, in Quentin Tarantino movie. And the first glimpse I had on her, of this young girl hitchhiking on a LA street. I thought, nobody else. And we had to wait so long to do this film because of everything that happened. And Margaret wait. And because she waits, I thought, then I have to do it. She cannot wait for nothing, you know. And also, I would like to say, it's so good to do, not to say honor and great and best. We are great and we like each other, but we are not the best of the best. Please.
That's true.
And I introduced Margaret to Olivier, our producer in Paris, and he felt like me.
And the close-up?
The close-up. Well, something as writing a script, it's the writing of the script that also start to frame it, you know? The writing is also a pre-frame, you know? A pre-frame. And then Eric Gauthier, the DP, the best of the best. No, I mean, it's great. Decide to choose, we decide for scope, and then he decide to choose those kind of antique lens that were designed for
Apocalypse Now. Coppola.
No, yeah, for Apocalypse Now, I guess, but also the name of the DP, I just...
Storaro.
Storaro, the Italian great DP. And they are very special. Number one, they are very delicate, and they have instead of having a scope that is like a long rectangle when you can see on the edge, those lenses, they concentrate something into the center, you know? They are magical, you know, but they are huge and heavy. And when I first saw them, I could not imagine Eric was going to be able to work with bazookas, you know? And of course he did. He was in cars, in small bedroom, everywhere. Nothing was difficult. Eric always found a way to be choreographing every scene with his huge lens, I remember the market scene when always remember him walking with this huge wide lens, and it was so impressive, He was walking like normally. So that's why the close-up. Maybe I'm too long. I would like to add something. In this room, some of our best companions from Panama, they're here, actors and the producers, and I have to say, we owe them a lot. That's what I want. I don't know if they are here, maybe, yes.
Joe, perhaps I could ask you, your performance is so layered and the chemistry between you two is so extraordinary. How did you prepare? What did Claire tell you about the role? What made you decide to go for it?
I decided to go for it because Claire asked, and I would never have said no to an opportunity of working with her. I was a big fan of her for a while, and so was just, so happy to jump in when given the opportunity. In terms of preparing, it was unconventional because it happened very last minute. I had a call from Claire on Friday saying, will you get on a plane in 4 days' time and start shooting in 8 days' time, 7 days' time? So I did, and Claire greeted me outside the hotel with rum. And we spoke about the script and character a little on Zoom, but once we got there, I feel like we discussed it a bit, but it was mainly kind of found through the feeling of doing it and day to day. And I feel like generally from what I could see from the way you were putting things together and the way that we were all thinking about it, it felt quite instinctive. And of course we thought and discussed it, but it was really through kind of finding each piece bit by bit and moment by moment that it kind of formed.
Thank you. We have a question on the right, in the back, yes.
Hello, good morning. Tim Barrows, Fab UK Magazine. I saw the film last night. Fantastic, great background music, great acting between Joe and Margaret. Margaret, you were just unbelievable. Your acting with your eyes and your facial expressions were just totally blew me away.
Thank you.
I reiterate, best actress, totally. How did you guys get such great chemistry on screen? Because it looks so natural, it doesn't look forced, it just looks so beautiful. How did that happen?
I beat them up every day. I was slashing.
Oh, are we meant to answer that? Okay, sorry. I think it's, I really do owe it all to Claire to just giving us the space to do that, and she's so gentle and nuanced, and she's seeing the things that you're not even seeing, she's like picking up on all these tiny little things, and she's kind of like painting with you, so I was just kind of listening to her and responding to Joe, and he's such a wonderful actor, and yeah, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I think it was, Claire was there and made us feel in this kind of amazing space where we could be together, and I don't know, you just kind of like find those things as you go. We were lucky that we knew each other a little bit maybe, and there was a familiarity, but I think, I don't know.
Yeah, one thing that was really cool for me was just the familiarity of Panama, because my dad, oddly enough, moved to Panama when I was 14. And so hey, Dad. And so I'd been visiting on and off for 14 years by then. And I'd been to the hotel, the Interturismo that Daniel's staying in, and I'd stayed there on my first ever trip, and just a bunch of the different locations I was really familiar with, and so it was nice to have accidentally been prepping for upwards of 10 years. And the same goes for the Spanish then too. But one thing is that I trained a lot to try to sound like I was from Nicaragua, and I'm just realizing as I'm sitting right here that the only people that will know that are the people from Nicaragua. But Yeah.
True.
But hopefully people in Nicaragua, if anyone ever sees this there, will feel seen.
But I think I saw Margaret and Joe because I am a shy person, and like Joe, I knew Margaret a little bit more through months, but the shyness is also great help because it's a sort of giving the trust to go to the same direction with precaution, and also maybe not caring for a result, just looking the thing growing. And I can say, and Guy, the editor of the film, knows that I see the way Margaret and Joe, they really create their character. They walk into their character in each different takes. Little by little, we saw them designing the story of the film by being so brilliant. Do you agree, Guy? Oui? Oui. Bon.
Stuart, I'd like to ask you, the music brings so much to the film from the very beginning of it. When did Claire first ask you to work on the film? How did she present it? How does your collaboration work?
I don't know if she ever asked me to work on the film. We've kind of, after all these years, we've kind of got this unsaid kind of thing, and I kind of find myself at moments going, does Claire want me to make the music for this film? And then something happens that makes it very obvious that she does. But I think with this film, it's she's been interested in the book for maybe 10, 12 years. She asked me to read it maybe 10, 12 years ago. And I think from then a conversation starts. And I think it's not so much about images or textures. It's just building up a feeling of what Claire's interested in. And I think by the time the shooting was going to start, I had this conversation with her when I was in Charles de Gaulle on my way to Greece. I think Claire was getting ready to go to Panama to meet you guys. And she said, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and of course I need the music for the dance scene. And I said, what dance scene is that? And she said, the one in the nightclub, when they're on their own. And I said, is it in the script? She said, it's in the new version of the script. And I said, do I have that? I'm not sure. And I think that's the way the things kind of happen. And I think it's about, for all these years of with this story inside me thinking about it, I think this song was sitting there waiting, and when it came to the moment, it's like, okay, this is needed. And so I was able to figure out getting into a studio quickly and getting it to Claire in Panama, and the scene was shot to it. And I think from there it kind of rolled. And I think, but to hear Joe and Margaret talking, it's just, I think with Claire, it's so much to do with a kind of trust, but also she does create a space for you to experiment in. She invites the conversation, and I think for Joe and Margaret to be working with her for the first time, I can see this. You are allowed, and you are in this safe space to find out how you feel about something, and I think that's what Claire wants. But it's not. She will not. You cannot get anything past her. If you say, "Okay, this is how I feel," if it's nothing that she feels, it's like, "No, this isn't right." But the conversation is in motion, and I think that then you learn because you realize why something isn't right, and the conversation starts. So I think that's so much to do with the way that we work together. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Said. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Often you write you're much ahead of me. You write
Occasionally.
before.
We have a question on the left, in the middle here. Yes, madame.
Hi, Deborah Cole from AFP News Agency. It's a question for Claire Denis. You were talking about how beautiful it was to finally see the film on screen, and congratulations on it. I was wondering, Cannes hasn't always been a very welcoming place for women, filmmakers. And you've been here for quite a few years and have seen a transformation. But how hopeful are you that in the coming years, the festival will start to have more equal representation? And then if I could ask just one quick second question. The festival is celebrating 75 years. And as I said, you've been here quite a few times. Could you talk about some of your, strongest or the memories that you have of this place that made the strongest impression on you as a filmmaker and as a woman?
Can I answer the second question first? Because the second question first is what happened in Cannes is very, the film I've seen first time in Cannes, I never forget this experience. And even a film like Paris, Texas, I was Wim Wenders' assistant. When I saw it in Cannes, I was amazed. I thought, how come I was there now? Because the energy of a theater like that is very special. And just an example. Last year, I was in Cannes to meet a Colombian producer, Diana Bustamante, who produced Memoria, the film de Apichapong Veracetakul, and she invited me to the screening. I was there for one day, and I sat, and the film started, and then when the film ended, I realized nobody was moving. We were like in a sort of extra life, somewhere else where this sound could be, And this kind of thing, this relation with a film, I don't think you can experience on your own, in the kitchen or in bed. It's something that asks you to be there, completely alone and together. Otherwise, now, about a woman, I had no choice, as I was a woman since my birth, So I think it's much better now, probably. Still, I can say it's really hard for men and women to do movie. It's harder for women. But women are tough, And it's important to be tough when making film. And they have a sort of obstination that makes them walk often only on the tracks they like, And there is a young director here, Léa, who is also a scriptwriter. Her film is in La Quinzaine. I think she experienced her debut, as I can say, as a filmmaker, probably very different than I do, But I think probably there is a part of luck, but I think that's where you realize a producer can choose you for the best reason, not for the worst, very often. And I never met the worst reason. I was lucky.
Thank you. We have a question in the middle.
Good morning. My name is Omar Fernini, and I write for the Italian website ODG Magazine. First of all, congratulations, Claire. Your movie was amazing. And right now, I can't find the right words to express how much I respect and deeply love all your movies. So thank you so much. My question is, why did you decide to set the movie nowadays instead of 1984? And one last thing, Yesterday, after the screening, I stayed to the end credits and I noticed that there was an image of the great Michel Subot. If it's not too personal, could you tell a few words to honor his memory? Thank you so much.
I answer about Michel Subot first. He died while we were editing the film in January, and he died alone in a car crash, driving like a crazy guy at 85 years old. And my experience working with Michel, after I've seen Michel as a young man in Jean-Luc Godard's movie Le Petit Soldat, working with him when I did Beau Travail was meeting not only a part of history of cinema, was meeting the most incredible, crazy, funny, brilliant, solitary man. He would refuse a lot of things, and that's why his career was so strange. He worked with Alfred Hitchcock, and the hospital called me. We were in the editing room, and I realized he would never call me why I was making shit movies, why I was such a bad director after all. No, I mean, Michel was a spirit he was like a flame. When we were shooting in Djibouti, he was the real commander of not only of the cast, also of the crew, you know. He was walking in his uniform in Djibouti, wearing his uniform, and all the soldiers in Djibouti would salute him as a commandant. So now you ask me the first question, I think I answer partly. Not shooting in Managua, it was not possible to do a film taking place in Managua. I had to change the project, and maybe the budget to rebomb Managua was not really a good idea, I think.
Thank you.
Hi, it's a question from Rio de Janeiro. It's Rodrigo from G-Show. I would like you to say a few words about the cast from Panama, specific that wonderful actress that plays the hotel owners, the one from the telephone. She's
Monica.
amazing. Yes.
Monica.
Could you say a few words about this cast?
Yeah. Monica, I met her in her jewelry. She's making jewels, and she owns a jewelry. And I went inside this jewelry because I saw a pair of earrings that I thought were meant for Margaret. Although probably not, but...
No, they were. I saw
No, I mean, anyway. And I met Monica, we talked, and I was very impressed by her. And then I asked the casting director she was afraid because she was not an actress, but with Andy, we felt so sure about her, you know. She was like the owner of the motel, no doubt about that, you know. And for me, it was really a great, the casting session in Panama were all great. The kids with the tires, Nick, not to speak about Nick, of course. Yeah. And Vice Ministro, Stefan, such a great Vice Ministro. Thank you.
There's one more question on the right.
Hello. My name is David Cuevas. I'm from Canada. Claire, I loved your film. It was deeply sensual. There is a sense of heat in the frame. But one thing that I noticed is the locations. They're very distinct. They're very naturalistic. I have a question about the location scouting in particular. How long did it take you to find the perfect location, the perfect symbiosis between cultural decay and these almost beautiful artifacts that you could find on a market street or in a hotel. Thank you.
The thing is, Panama does not look like Nicaragua, so it was difficult for me to start location scouting because Leah knows I had in mind so much the real location that Dennis Johnson described. So it took me a time to adapt myself to find places that could react with the script, you know? Not looking like Nicaragua, but giving me a feeling that, like the motel, for instance, as opposed to the huge hotel where your character is staying. This was the two poles of the novel, you know? As Trish, as a character says, this is my hotel, you know? This was really the novel. And I did everything like that, following the novel as much as I could to find location in Panama that.
I know you haven't asked me, but I actually went on location scouts with Claire, and it's one of the most like magical things because she would just kind of like randomly come upon these places. They'd be set out. We had this wonderful producer, Paducah, in Panama, and they'd be set out to go to some place, and in particular, in Teo, and then Claire would be like, no, actually, let's turn this way. And they'd just go down the road for 20 minutes, and then she'd be like, it's here. And he'd be like, yeah, I guess you're right, it is here. So I don't know. I think that she's too humble to talk about how magical she is, and she's really led by instinct, and it's pretty marvelous to witness.
Thank you. I don't know if it's true, but
it is.
Probably a little bit.
I mean, I would say that, you know, for me, it's like, and I really felt it so much last night. It's just when even like Claire sends me the dailies when she's filming, it's that every frame is alive. And you think about this humble motel room, and I was sitting watching it last night, and it was like, it was so magical, you know? And I think just those instinctive choices to do with colors, composition, it's, I think it's humbling sometimes for me, so.
If I can say something about that, I've been working for many years with art director Arnaud de Moleron, who do location scouting with us in Panama. He had a great Panamanian crew, and with his broken Spanish, he managed very well. And I think it was also great to have him with us. Yes. And he's also a very good-looking guy. It's important.
We're going to have to wrap up on that note of magic. Thank you all so much for joining us. Congratulations for the film.